If you've ever wondered how brands effectively communicate in a rapidly evolving digital landscape, or how emerging technologies are reshaping the PR industry, you are in for a treat. My name is Arun, and you are with the AI with Arun show. Our guest today is Sharmilee Daru, a visionary entrepreneur who has been at the forefront of the PR revolution for over 2 decades. Shamilee is the founder of Shamilee Daru PR, a cutting edge consulting based in Mumbai that's redefining how brands connect with their audience. Her innovative approach has earned her recognition as a change maker in the industry, known for delivering solutions that blend traditional PR wisdom with the latest technological advancements. But Shamilee's impact doesn't stop here. About 2 years ago, she launched 4WD Gaming, a specialized division focused on the booming gaming industry. This move exemplifies her keen ability to identify and capitalize on emerging trends, particularly at the intersection of technology and communication. From navigating the complexities of corporate communications to pioneering PR strategies in the gaming sector, Shamilee's expertise spans a wide range of industries and challenges. Her journey is a testament to the power of adaptability and innovation in the ever changing world of PR. Shamili, a very, very warm welcome to our show.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I thought that would never end, but okay, I was holding my breath. Thank you.
Because you have done so much of work, Shamili, and you have such an impressive background. Eh,
Okay. Yeah.
Excellent.
Thanks. I'm
Shamili,
so glad to be here. I'm so glad to be here. And thank you for having me on the show.
excellent. So, Shamil, let's jump in. So, tell our viewers about how has the gaming PR landscape in India evolved ever since you started working in the sector?
So, uh, to go back and dip a little, in 2016, I started in the gaming space. And honestly, in the space I'm in, as in the PR space, I don't think gaming as an industry or sector was understood by media or PR. It was like really play a couple of games kind of a thing. And how does it make for business or information or news in the industry, or even make it an industry for that matter? But yes, we have some really strong companies in the country who've been persevering to really make that happen and getting their foothold and space within the ecosystem or building that ecosystem. We've all been pioneering and, uh, you know, building the ecosystem for gaming since then. And I think that's what made it possible, because excellent work done by them, some good communication that we could put through because of their good work. And I think that's what kind of made the evolution start. That's why I don't think media initially was ready to talk about gaming. Honestly, they were not. They were closed. I mean, if I picked up the phone and spoke to people, it's like, and the companies we want to talk about were like your business financials and companies, and gaming as an industry sounded like, what games do you play? Why would we talk about it? I mean, it does sound like an oxymoron, a misnomer. It's like, really, how does it come together? So yes, some good work with, we started with Nazara Technologies in 2016, and they kind of, you know, the dent kind of and bent happened since then. And we kind of were very, very persevering, and we kind of had to make sure that media starts writing about gaming in the media. They were not relevant. So we created relevant content. We created relevant work. The company had some excellent stuff going on, and it kind of just happened. It merged in, and that goal was achieved. And till date, I think media is moving towards writing about gaming. They actually have specialized beats and people writing there. So I see that from 2016, to where we are today, with where the evolution has actually moved. And I feel so glad that we've all moved ahead.
So, Shamili, obviously, that means from a segment that was sort of non-existent, let's say 7, 8, 10 years ago, to a segment that now exists and is thriving, not just exists, but is really thriving. You have seen it all. Give us some examples. Nazara is one such example, but give us some other interesting stories that you have seen where how this transformation happened?
So, yes, transformation happened because, uh, from the PR side of it, one thing is anything you build publicity, you get noise gets you people here. So, everything, obviously, the spread becomes more. Uh, if it, are you wanting to talk about certain companies and how it happened and everything? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe one or two examples.
Yeah, sure. So I can give you those as well. But what I want to say is that initially it was all about gaming companies generally. Then we saw a couple of years that went into game of skill and RMG and the battles there. And then we saw the banning of PUBG going to BGMI. And then we saw a lot of change with government stuff and everything and policies. And then we saw esports booming. Today, we are looking at RMG coming back. We're looking at esports, which has come back with its new avatar, hopefully with at least BGMI, if nothing else. Growth there is incredible. And yes, so this, I think, has been overall evolution, not to mention with, technological advancements in the gaming space, which have further taken it forward. So yes, coming back to what kind of work I think has built the space, I will start again with Nazara since I mentioned them. In 2016, we just talked about some of the work they did. We talked about IPs, the kind of associations, characters, growth, development, and what's going on in the industry. Slowly, we started talking about, we saw great benefit, and the companies talked about going public, right? The kind of publicity it was the best way to break through or build that industry, because when you talk serious IPO business and a gaming company doing that, that kind of helped us cut through straight to the top, right? Straight ahead, thinking that, okay, gaming is serious business, right? So I think that's what kind of really did did the big deal, right? And the company and the kind of publicity we churned, we took a few years. People usually like to come to PR people saying, oh, we're launching an IPO in a couple of months. And I look at them and say, what have you been doing till now? And but yes, having said that, I think what was really great was we worked on it for a few years and we got some fabulous, and the company didn't just roll out well from the IPO. It oversubscribed by 175 times in 3 days, which was like, I think, broke through shackles of gaming. So yes, that was one leg. Moving forward, we also had another company that come in who wanted to get listed again. We were like, wow, this is getting bigger and better. And I think these are, if I'm not mistaken, some of the few companies are listed in the country. And here, these guys were like enterprise solutions company providing AR, VR, Internet of Things and services. And I thought they could do with like a makeover. They'd not done any much professional PR in terms of large scale stuff or planning, which was long term. So I think the entire take and strategy there was building their brand positioning and building their positioning where while they were doing everything and providing the services, they were into developing apps and for even financial, for games, everything. And those services were what made them and what we gave them the take on being an AI, blockchain, and gaming led brand. And that gave them the status of becoming the second company going public, at least in one sector, if not the others, right, in the country. That position kind of worked out for them. And I think that they did brilliantly. And not to miss mentioning that just 1 year post the IPO, I mean, post the work we did and they launched the IPO, actually, they today have launched the biggest gaming studio in the country, which kind of churns out 40 games a year, which is a great number to do. So I felt the right communication, the correct, the messaging and saying what we want, positioning the company properly kind of helped that. And being a second company in the space, media I think, was more alerted to what's going on in the space. So yes, another level to evolution, right?
Right,
So
right.
there have been multiple, businesses and companies. I think there have been some marketing companies which have done some brilliant work going across country regionally and taking up cities, promoting grassroots, gamers and gaming influencers. So there's been the other consumer side as well, which really kind of did great blitzkrieg work. So yes, over time now there has been a lot of
Yeah.
evolution
Right.
and yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right. Wonderful. And Shamilee, can you name the second company? The first one you said was Nazara. Can you name the second
Yeah,
company?
sorry, I missed that. UDIS Solutions.
Oh, your solution. Okay.
Yes, they're an Ahmedabad-based company. We couldn't believe it. It was a quiet company, functioning but doing really well. Good revenue, doing brilliantly well. Some good, you know. I mean, even the managing directors in the company today are the voice for AI now on LinkedIn. So we kind of put these things together, saying you're anyway doing it. So that's it. So they're doing great today. We're really happy about that.
Wonderful, wonderful, and that like great progress. Once there's a starter, and then there's other people also coming in, then that's where it starts blooming. The whole industry starts blooming.
And the role,
Yeah,
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely.
And kudos to you and your team for enabling that because a lot of time, founders have great ideas, but how do you really, be able to monetize it? How are
Right.
you able to make sure that everybody hears about it, learns about it, and just fantastic. Kevin, let's talk about 4WD Gaming. So, the company that you started. So, what inspired you to start that company, and what do you think are the main differentiators of that company?
So, after having done PR for since 2016 till maybe till the pandemic, just right before the pandemic, is when I started getting thoughts that. So while I could help progress communication and build the space for say one or two companies, till then, I wanted to kind of help uh, other companies, gaming companies and brands establish themselves in the ecosystem. A very small ecosystem, but the faster they could kind of communicate themselves, get a foot in the door, become a part of mainstream. The challenge for us was to make gaming mainstream. And that is what I wanted to achieve. So the goal was the more companies that come in, the more communication that happens about them, the more, publicity that happens, people will read about them, news happens about them, the ecosystem develops, gamers come in, and more opportunity for everyone to, go out with everything. So that was what kind of prompted me and wanting to, and another thing, the gaming ecosystem then was and is still growing, but really younger and young founders, developers, gamers. They've been gamers who become entrepreneurs. But PR isn't exactly something that either it's a budget constraint or it's a knowledge constraint, right? Because it's not a first priority over marketing, sales, or the business at hand. And I think that when they come to us, we really want to help them establish or communicate their brand ethos in the world out there. And I think that was one thing that prompted me to help them get the message out there, get their own identity, and get more such companies to be out there.
No, nice. That's a great vision. So, Shamili, what kind of strategies have you employed, or and have you seen succeed as you working with these brands to improve their visibility?
So, one of my USPs or the way I work differently, I want to highlight is we're not just a PR brand. Yes, a PR brand, but we're not just about going out or rolling out with operational PR. What we do first is actually look at the brand. We look to build or advise on the brand itself. Again, going back to young entrepreneurs, it we kind of give a bit of business advisory apart from the PR advisory to help them get in so that they can do PR even more efficiently, right? So when I talk about what is the kind of advisory, so we help them with brand guidelines, how advertising on large scale marketing companies do in building a brand key for the brand, or a brand bible for the PR sake. At least we kind of get that going, right? And we ask questions the brands and of course the founders need to answer, so we streamline their needs, their problems, their desires. And when we got those together, we then sit to analyze what we need to do vis-a-vis which is the right, obviously typical TG, vis-a-vis the right vehicles, going about media mapping and going about the process that PR actually does. But our first steps are more advisory. We don't take up a project without the first 45 days dedicated to this. Otherwise, we are not going to know where we are going. And unless the founder or the company is extremely sure, we'll spend maybe 15 days. Why not? I'm glad to get the job done faster, but we should be streamlined. So aligning everything together is something which is a very, and we keep going back to those goals or the plans that we've made so that we don't move away communicating anything. Along the way, in a couple of months, you realize we moved to a different direction, even if that is consciously so. you know
Yeah. Right. So, I mean, clearly, the way you articulated it, there's a lot of thought given behind the strategy and the kind of work that you're doing, the roadmap that you're putting together. There is indeed a lot of thinking that's going on behind each of the brands, Shamilee. It's a great job there. And probably that's what the reason why we are seeing a lot of results coming out from you and your team.
Really, thank you. I wouldn't know that. I don't know what to say.
Excellent. So, Shamilee, let's take a step back. You sort of described the how the gaming industry in India has evolved. So, talk to our viewers about some of the latest trends that you are seeing. And if I am a founder, I'm thinking about a new game to launch in the Indian market, be it of an Indian origin or be it of a non-Indian origin. What are some of the trends that I should be looking at in order to tune myself more to the Indian gaming industry?
So I think there's a lot of trends which are all moving together, right? So I think there's a lot of roads that are kind of happening. I see on the one side, of course, not to miss that the shift in growth of the industry, given more affordable data access, right? Given the mobile, which is doing a brilliant job. We're a mobile first country. And yes, 90% of, I think, gaming revenues are from mobile, right? And given, so those, given the benefits that we already have, which infrastructurally, I think those are, of course, a great consideration. But the trends I see typically are India is an excellent target for community. Not to miss, we have the numbers of the youth. I think it's not just in India, but internationally, the world is looking at it. So there's no doubt there. We're in emerging, with our emerging trends, there's no doubt that AI is playing its role. There's no doubt with everything, with Web3 growing, we're now getting a little more popular. But there are distinct. So people who want to build a community, people who want to kind of, want downloads, gamers. So there's brilliant growth in that in the last few years. And I think that's what they need to gauge. I think the technology, in the end, having a great game is what really counts. So good game design, of course, you can use the help of Gen AI and use the help of fabulous graphics now that we have the advantage of it. But yes, I think those are really key and important with what the country has to offer.
And how about in terms of the regulations that the Indian government is putting in place, some of the policies? I know for the Indian Prime Minister Modi, he has mentioned gaming in several of his speeches. So how is the government thinking about policy formulation?
So, there's two sides to this coin. While the government and our prime minister is definitely promoting it, talking to influencers, content creators, meeting up with, I'm sure there's companies and there's growth. The biggest corporates are really doing excellent tie-ups, acquisitions internationally and in India. So that's the positive side for sure. A lot of international integration, a lot of community of India going internationally. I see great synergy there and a great up point, right? Uh, when it comes to regulations, I see what comes first to me or what comes first to any listener, reader, or person in the industry is the concerns that they faced with maybe what happened with the hit that PUBG got, and the transfer to Grafton and BGMI, and then again BGMI went back and BGMI came back. There was a stream of tears and crying youth here when that closed down. But a lot of things did go out of business. Tournament organizers got hit. Everything happened. But I think it's a good thing it's back finally, and now maybe for good. Uh, Otherwise, when you talk regulations, we're talking game of skill industry in the RMG and real money gaming space. Uh, I think there is a bit of glitch there, and we still need to work things out. Uh, August of 23 was when they kind of slam down on the 28% GST for those companies. And it was more like, okay, the entire space is closing down. As I said, the evolution happened with one space and then that went, or another one came and that went down, and BGMI happened. So it's been a bit of up and down, but I'm hopeful that, after there's been maybe a hopeful lift of consideration of lifting the retrospective tax on the 28% or the scheme of scale companies, hopefully, I think there is light at the end of the tunnel. So yes, that's where the regulation part is, which is a bit of concern. And still on a daily basis, we're hoping that that kind of completely gets cleared up. So the industry or that part of the company and genre of gaming can come back. But
Yeah,
yes, there's tremendous growth on the other spaces, no doubt.
yeah, yeah. No, and that's very well said. And as the administration talks to more people from this industry, I'm sure these voices are being uh, articulated in a way that it can help simplify the regulations around.
Absolutely. We're all hopeful, and I think it's only time will tell. But I think there's positive move there. But having said that, some companies have been surviving well, is what I understand, because again, our numbers are growing. It's like everything's anyway on the up. So even if the industry or that particular sector is not in great health, it's still not going completely down, maybe because the numbers and gamers are keeping on growing and playing good.
Right, right. Makes sense. Makes sense. So, Shami, let's take another sequel to talking about AI and PR. How is AI helping the PR industry in general, and not just in gaming, but across the industry? Clearly, there's a lot of impact. You spoke about Gen AI, about content creation, but talk to our viewers a little more about the impact of AI on the industry.
Sure, sure. I basically think that AI in PR is, for those who ever thought on jest, who could not have never wanted to write content, is a blessing. And for those who thought that it takes up a lot of time, there's no doubt that it's great. So, well, it has its pros and cons, but how it helps us is absolutely multiple ways, allows you to understand brand sentiment, allows you to kind of get ahead of what's happening with perception, your analysis, your data. It gives you very quick records. It allows you to do real-time tracking of what news is going on out there, real-time tracking of what the companies are doing, what's happening in the industry. So I think all our roles, whether it's a press release, whether it's our daily news information and tracking, whether it's the operational roles we play, right? Your typical speech to text happening, your interviews can be transcribed. So everything and all our roles with AI get resolved really simply. So there's no denying that it's fabulous if we use AI and PR. And I'm not sure if everyone's using a lot of it, because we are still in the traditional space yet moving to new, because of course it has its challenges, which we could talk about at some point. But I think otherwise the use of it is great in all spheres, whether you want to manage reputation for a brand, whether you want to manage crisis, it's all there.
Yeah, yeah. And how are you managing? There's a lot of efficiencies, of course, that AI is bringing in, right? So there's an AI efficiency part. At the same time, there's an authenticity of the human, right? And those two sort of may either go together or not go together. So how do you balance these two?
So, I think that's a very good point, because AI gives you excellent raw data, and it gives you so much data. Having said that, you put out the right prompts and the right questions, and you know what you want, right? That's the first step. Second, you got your data, and there's so much of it, but without human touch. And I see creativity and nuances of, making it more, personalizing it, customizing it to your audience is only going to happen with PR, actually doing it without. So while AI comes in, great. You want to get a draft, you want to get your first look, you want to get your set of what it could drive out from you. It gives you great ideas, but I think it's really important that you can't rely on it. There is no way. You have to do it. And that's where the human touch, and that's where our role comes in. And there is no PR that can happen without that part taking place.
Yeah. I love that answer. I love that answer. You just cannot take the human away from whatever AI technologies that come in.
You cannot, no, no. So
Beautiful.
all the emotional, right? The emotion, the consumer psychology, or the psychology basically, or your customization, your personalized information can only come in when you do it after you got maybe raw data, or do it from scratch, maybe it's simpler. Everyone's got their thoughts there.
Yeah, yeah. No, wonderful. Shamilee, let's talk next about Web3 and gaming. Alluded to that earlier. Let's talk a little bit in more detail about it. So, how is Web3 impacting gaming, and how would it shape the gaming industry going forward?
So Web3 in India, I still believe, and it is, of course, it's got an international phenomena to it in India yet. And you know, I think it's growing fabulously. I've been at some of these conferences. I was at Token in Singapore just a couple of weeks ago, and I'm just seeing that nothing's going to move without it, right? I see it great, and I see that it's amalgamation into gaming and what's happening. It's actually revolutionary. So what I think is awesome there is decentralization, and typically the role of decentralization, right? And where gamers have more control on their, you know, data, they have control on what they do, they have control on their own information, and that's so decentralized, and hence they can keep track of their own records and everything. So it's not like someone, and that gives you your transparency, privacy, typically what blockchain promises, right? So I think the usage of that is has become something. And not to forget the advantages, it could be another trend is income through Web3. So, the earning capacity. So we do know the downsides again of crypto and everything. And it's not downsides. Well, yes, our country is not there yet. But yes, overall, it's an excellent opportunity for the youth, for a side income, great career opportunity. There's everything there. And yes, for gamers per se, that's the conversation. I think being their own owners and everything. I think that's what decentralizing is, what it's doing there.
Right. Got it. So great. Wonderful. Taking a step forward, let's also talk about some of the emerging technologies like the AR, VR, Metaverse. How are these impacting the PR industry and also the impact on the gaming side?
So I would just say they're just emerging tech, right? And I think the PR industry, when you say impacting, that I would say the other way around. So there can be good PR around them, right? So we could talk about games which have your AR, VR, XR, and we could talk about, whatever AI or how it's being used. So yes, that has allowed us new opportunity to talk, and talk about newer trends, talk about newer technologies, advancement and stuff like that. So I think the PR industry too is waking up to a completely new culture, right? We used to talk about just maybe larger fields of infrastructure, hospitality. I mean, typically PRs were doing, our traditional industries, right? And now we've moved so much. So hence being in the emerging technology space with Web3 gaming, AI and stuff, now we realize, and media is sucking it up so well. Media is loving it, right? They're like the keywords to go with. And I feel even companies feel, wow, if I just put AI ahead of my name, I'm going to fly faster. So well, yes, we're all flying in with that trend. But yes, since we're service providers in this space, and we do see that media is taking well to it. We see people responding well to it. Everything's very positive with the PR there.
No, that's great. That's great. And what would your advice be, Shamilee, to aspiring PR professionals, especially somebody who wants to be associated with the gaming industry? What are the kind of things that they should be doing, working on to improve themselves?
Honestly, knowledge, understanding the industry, I think PR professionals, at least in the country or outside, are so bogged down with just doing, typically you do your operations, do your releases, do everything that you need, understand with the client, but consult first, understand the brand requirements. That's one thing. Second thing, know the gaming industry if you want to work in this space, because it's important you know where the strengths are, where the weaknesses are, what is happening, what its history has been going on, where it's growing, right? And gaming doesn't work the way other industries work. Gaming is too young, right? So I think packaging that news, I think helping entrepreneurs find their footing with the right information they want to share and how we package it for them, the right headlines that need to go, I think is very industry building. And I think we are, youngsters or enthusiasts who want to get into the space, you know, should know that. Once I had someone coming for an interview just on a jet side and like, I play a lot of games. I spend 8 hours on games. I'm like looking at them like, wow, is that really a criteria for you to get into the PR of gaming? But yes, it's surprising what kind of enthusiasts come in. That was a little funny. But yes, I think what's important is industry knowledge, knowing what's going on, ear to your ground, and basic general knowledge, right? Read what's out there. That's it.
That's a fabulous advice for somebody who is listening in to understand where to. And rightly said, Shamilee. I mean, the more I talk to experts on this show and otherwise, I realize that there is no shortcut to learning about the domain. I mean, the technology is there, yes, it's all there on the side, but understanding the true domain, staying close to the ground, uh, nothing sort of compensates for that.
Absolutely. Actually, keeping your ears to the ground, looking at what's going on, looking at the pitfalls, and hence advising your clients accordingly. So we, as we're a consultancy, right? So we, as a brand and company, we feel we should know more than our clients, and we should know much more than what the media knows, because that's been my take from the beginning, to keep building for both those sides so that this industry can move in the gaming space or whichever the industry that they're working on. And hence my teams, the training that we do, and first steps, again, just the way I take those 45 days for my clients, I have to set aside time for my teams, because we do have a talent crunch in my space, an extreme one. There's no gaming PR brands, agencies, or companies. Not really, not too many. I think this was just a thought of, well, they have got their departments now in larger functions, but not such deep end uh, consulting. So, well, training them, that happens.
Brilliant. Beautiful. So thank you, Shamili. That was towards the end of the show. And the last segment that we have is the rapid fire round.
Okay.
All right, so let's get started. All right. So my first question to you in the rapid fire round is ChatGPT, Google Gemini. If you could choose one for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Exactly.
All right.
Don't
Then my
ask me.
second one.
Text. It's all the word. We're PR. Right.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. All right. The next one is what is the most overrated AI trend right now?
So I think overrated would be, so one of the things I see is all brands keep talking about and companies keep talking about AI tools. I don't think tools are important. I think the solutions that they come up with are important. I think those solutions that spread and people can take advantage of, and that's what's known, is which will kind of finally come back to health. So I think,
Yeah,
just talking AI and mentioning AI and talking AI tools is not sufficient.
yeah,
They
yeah.
need to be meaningful. Yes.
Very nice. The second one, the third one, in one sentence, how would you define the future of AI in your field?
Future of AI is enhancing everything I said before. It's going to enhance efficiently what my brand perception is going to be, what my reputation will look like. It's going to quickly analyze all the information that we've done for a particular client. It's going to quickly give me outtake on everything that we do, right? So I see that the analysis part and all the roles that AI basically plays is going to just enhance all those roles in PR for us.
Right? Wonderful. The fourth one, what is the one AI skill that everyone should learn in order to be better prepared for tomorrow?
Human touch. If you are going to rely on AI, please humanize it, customize it, personalize it to what brand, whatever product it needs to be.
Wonderful. And then the last one, if AI could take over one of your daily tasks completely, what would it be?
I love this question. So I'm thinking earlier, I used to think initially, I wish I would have more clones. Well, the days of the sheep are gone. And maybe some robots or maybe some humanoids who are going to do this training as an entrepreneur. What I need to keep saying, guys, gaming is this. That's the training. I wish my 40-day training is taken over and I can feed all the data. And I'm going to soon have my AI professor talk training in the first 40 days to whoever comes in, what the different genres of gaming are, why RMG is different, and skill-based gaming is different from casual-based gaming, and what query you shouldn't send here, what should not be embarrassing, where are the mistakes, where are the downfalls, advantages. So well, I won't take this further, but that's what I'm moving on from sheep to clear robots and humanoids who will do my AI job for me.
That's brilliant.
My people, skill stuff, everything.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty sure if a founder, the would-be founder is watching the show, they'll get some aspirations from here, from inspiration from here
I thought
to
I'm
create a
actually
product for
I
you.
should work this out. Yeah. Now
Yeah,
I'm working with someone in robotics and AI. I think I'm going to quickly look at this.
yeah. That's brilliant. So thank you, Shamili. Thank you so much.
Thank
That brings us
you.
toward the end of our show. I really, really appreciate taking the time.
Thank you, Arun. This was lovely. It was a fun show. Thank you. Take
Yeah,
care.
thank you.
Bye.